Welcome to Foundations Greek Grammar Part 6. And as I've said earlier, the Foundation series is going to teach you both Greek and Hebrew. So Part 6 really is not 6 parts of Greek. It's so far 3 parts of Hebrew, and now we're up to 3 parts of Greek. Just a quick reminder on the purpose of a webinar. First, it's going to provide training for Logos Bible software, as you know. We'll provide training so you can study the topic for yourself. Along the way, if possible, we'll provide biblical insights related to the topic, and we'll provide materials like the personal book that's included with the purchase of the webinar to equip yourself and others. Unfortunately, I'm not here to replace seminary. There are bigger men and women and experts in this material, but you have to pay for that. Also, I make the lessons shorter due to the technical nature of the material. It's a great review for those of you who are rusty with your Greek training. But the primary audience is for someone with little or no Greek training, so that with Logos, they can actually study like the scholars. And really, it's great for anyone who wants to use more of the original language tools. And we are going to take a step-by-step approach with biblical examples. Just a quick reminder, when the webinar does release, it'll be on discount for $4.99. And if you still haven't purchased the training videos, definitely take advantage of those. We've still got Logos 4 available, 300 videos, Logos 5, 500 videos. And keep in mind, these videos are not just simply overviews of the technology. We go much further than anyone else in the training, including Morse Proctor with the Camp Logos. The orange disc pretty much covers all of Camp 1 and 2, overviewing all the features of Logos. The blue DVD, which is really unique, is 282 book overviews organized into 14 Bible study categories. So you can learn which books to use at different steps of the Bible study process. Some of these books you already own and may not even be aware of it. Other books will be outside your library, and so they become a great list to purchase. When you have to spend money on books, being strategic is a great way to save money in the long run. And then the green DVD is really unique. It's a one-of-a-kind in that we are going to teach you actually how to study the Bible and prepare a message with Logos. And so even if you don't ever preach or teach, the principles are still there. We're going to show you how to create layouts. We're going to give you collections. We're going to show you how to do specialized searches. And we're going to break it down into a step-by-step process. The more consistent you can be in the way you study the Bible, the more successful you'll be in understanding the Word of God. And we're going to take the parable of the sower, break that down for you, show you how to use all the Logos tools applied for the purpose of studying the passage. So very excited to bring all that together, believe it or not, for the price between $44 and $54, depending on how you want it delivered, from a download only to a DVD and download. Just go to LearnLogos.com/buy now, and you will be able to see that information there. And there is a complete list of all the training topics. So if you want to see those 500 videos and what they're all about, just go ahead and take a look, and you'll be in great shape. Don't forget about 2014 training schedules. We got still a lot of events left in 2014. Very excited about some of those that are coming up. We also have a special webinar series coming up. It's 6 weeks, and it's going to be on Bible study. And for those of you who have taken the sermon or have taken the inductive or have done even the previous Bible study, feel free to email me at professor@LearnLogos.com, and you will get a substantial discount. We always try to take into account purchases from the past and apply those to new materials or materials that are being upgraded or updated. So if you're interested in this 6-week study, we're going to walk you through how to study the Bible with Logos. Take advantage of this. There's going to be a syllabus involved, probably about 100 pages that can be turned into a personal book. If you can't actually make the live presentations on Saturday, no worries. We record the session and release it within 24 hours. So you'll have it by Sunday evening to do that. The schedule, as you can see there in the second column at the top right, starts in August and will end in September. So 6 Saturdays, and it's about 12 hours of training. There's also homework involved, voluntary, of course. So if you want to take your skill set even further, there'll be homework to be done. I will actually grade it, make comments, try to improve your skill set so that you'll be better at Logos and better at Bible study. So email me that email for the coupon and sign up at LearnLogos.com/Bible study. Okay, we're ready to get started. So let me go ahead and open up the personal book that'll be included. Now, this personal book, like all the other ones, I have a whole section on recommended but not required resources. There's a special keyboard you can get, so if you want to type Greek, Hebrew, and other fonts, you can. Also, I have a specialized collection that you can create to organize your Greek grammars and your Greek Bibles. And so those are here. Let me just take a moment and just do that real quick because it's not too difficult. So we're going to go to Tools and go to Collections. And what you want to do is you want to type in the name Greek Grammar. So let me go ahead and pull that up. I already have it done. So grammar, Greek. And the rule is pretty straightforward. Greek space grammar, that's the first part, space, and then you're going to do a minus sign, type, quote, Bible commentary, because we don't want any commentaries. Now you'll notice that we're getting back, by doing it this way, we're getting back other items that you wouldn't expect, because there is some tagging that's been done by Logos. You can see that there's a grammar here. But there's things like vocabulary, workbooks that are not tagged as grammar books, and they can be very useful as well. Plus, there's some other additional things like syntax graphs that have glossaries that can explain certain terms. That's very useful. But most of them, the ones that are going to come back, are going to be grammars. So be aware of that. Then space, minus, type, clause. That can or doesn't have to be in quotes. I just kind of have a habit of doing that. Minus, title, Hebrew. So we don't want any Hebrew material in here. Space, minus, type, Bibles. We don't want any Bibles. And then minus, subject, Bible, bibliography. There should be 2 minuses in there, so we put that in there. I'll correct that rule. And then also the last one, minus, type, lexicon. We don't want any lexicons in there. And that's going to give you a pretty good list of Greek grammar-related resources. And I think you'll find that rule extremely helpful. So let me go ahead and click New, and that will save it. And then the second one is just organizing all your Greek Bibles. This is pretty helpful as well. So let's go ahead and do that. And let me bring that up. Here we go. Bibles, Greek, or Bibles, Greek, either way. Now the rule is very straightforward. We have subject, quote, Bible dot space n dot t dot. And it doesn't have to be capital letters, but it can be all in quotes. Then the second part is type, Bible, subject, Greek. So what that's going to do is further narrow it by choosing Bibles with a subject Greek. I pulled out the interlinears because those really aren't going to be as helpful for the type of searches we would run against the Greek Bible. I removed all the clausal, all the syntactical, and all the English. So what do you get back? You're going to get some manuscripts back, which are actual Greek texts. You're going to get all the various Greek Bibles that are available in your library. And as you can see from the list, there's some really interesting resources that will come up with this specific collection and rule. So those are the 2 major collections that you definitely want to have. Then I've got some specialized resources that I've broken them down. And once you get the personal book, these will become available. But these are just various resources on various aspects of Greek grammar. There's paradigm or vocabulary resources. There's a whole bunch there. There's Greek readers. Unfortunately, a lot of the Greek resources Logos has bundled into a much more expensive collection. But there are a few resources you can buy standalone. For example, one I want to point out that I think is fantastic, one of the best ones out there, especially if you're rusty on Greek or don't know any Greek whatsoever. It's by Samuel Lamerson. He's over at Knox Seminary, and he has put together with Zondervan this incredible resource called the English Grammar to Ace New Testament Greek. And it is such a valuable, easy, and entertaining resource that just makes Greek accessible to all of us. And I can't recommend this book enough. So please take advantage of that resource. There's some other introductory resources listed here. I have those there for you. Let me scroll down to the next one. Then I break it down into intermediate grammars. These are ones that are moving beyond just introductory material. They're going a little more in depth, and they are a little more technical. You really don't want to move into the intermediate grammars unless you have a good foundation with the beginning grammars. Then there is what I call advanced resource grammars. These are very technical, very comprehensive. They get into nuances that just aren't covered in detail in the other types of books. Additionally, besides that, you'll be surprised that the theological journals can also give you quite a bit of information as well. That's another set of resources to consider. If you don't have the Theological Journal, let me go ahead and open that up. Please take advantage of this resource. It may seem like a high price, $500, but This is greater than any commentary set because of the rich variety and the fact that pretty much every significant word, phrase, topic is dealt with by more than one author from different theological perspectives. And theological journals are special because they actually explain what they believe and try to defend it. So you can see the reasons and the rationales for the conclusions they make, and that is extremely helpful. Plus, they're always summarizing the most recent scholarship, so it makes it very relevant to what's going on today in biblical scholarship. So take advantage of that resource. There's ways of creating a custom collection. Again, those instructions are in there. Today's topic, believe it or not, is only one topic. So that should make it easy for all of us. And we're going to be talking about participles, and I call it the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now, why would I use such a crazy illustration? Because participles are really two things. They're a verb, they act like a verb, and they act like an adjective. And so there's your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now, the first search I want to help you with is a real basic search. So let's go to search, let's go to basic search, and let's put in large text participles. Large text participles. And the reason we're doing this particular search, and make sure you search your entire library, is to show you how you can find everything in your library about participles. And this is a great way to begin your study of what is a participle. And so I use large text because that's going to bring back resources where the main article is about participles. So you can see here in this particular workbook, adverbial participles. Now, some of the hits that come back will be from other languages. Here I have Akkadian. If you go down further, we've got Hebrew. There's only going to be a handful of those that come back. Most of the ones that are going to come back are going to be Greek. But I wanted to be comprehensive because sometimes looking at participles in other languages, like Hebrew, can shed insight into the participles in the Greek. So this is a great way for you to find the resources. Notice that theological journals came back, little compact guides are coming back, just a lot of great information. And so this will help you find and discover more information about participles. Now, let's go into a brief lecture here, and then we'll do lots of searching examples. What exactly is a participle? Because this is a word that is used significantly in the New Testament. In fact, let's have some fun and just see how many times participles show up in the Greek New Testament. So let's go to the search box, click on search. Let's go to morph. Make sure it says all morph text, all passages. Let's choose the New American Standard Bible for our translation. And let's do the Logos Greek morphology. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click in the find box and we're going to hit the @ symbol. That's going to open up the parts of speech box. And let's just put in verb and let's choose participle. We can go ahead and press enter. If we run a quick search, we'll get back 6,753 participles were found. Now, just for fun, let's open up a second search box and do this off another Greek translation, just to see consistency. So I'm going to show you a little trick here how you can clone your search box. So I'm going to press the control button, and I'm going to left click and drag on the tab. As I drag it, I'll see an orange vertical line and release. And now I've got an exact duplicate of what I just did. Now this time I'm going to change my NASB 95 to the NA27. And then I'm going to pick one that has morphology. I'm going to choose the one that has the gram chord. Now we got to change the morphology. Whenever you change the Bible translation, you've got to redo the morphology because they're all different. Very, very important. There we go. So add verb, and then we'll look for the participle. There it is. And we'll go ahead and press enter. So notice it's a completely different morphological scheme there. Always be aware of that. And let's separate the search results so we can see the two windows. And notice that one has 6,753 and the second one has 6,658. So a little bit different. Let's do one more translation. So I'm going to clone it again. I'm going to control click on the tab, drag over. I'm going to put it over here. And this time, instead of the NASB or NA27, we're going to do the UBS, another different flavor of the Greek New Testament. So there it is. And again, we'll have to redo the morphology. So @ symbol, look for verb in the list. There it is. And we'll go to verb, participle, and we'll run the search. And this one's got 6,659, a difference of 1. Now, if you're wondering why the differences, one is how the scholars went and tagged based on the forms that they read. And this is one of the challenges of Greek, because some words can have the same form, but depending on how you tag it or how you determine its parts of speech, it can change the word. So let's just, for fun, compare these lists and see where the big difference is. Let's do the first one, which is pretty easy, and that is this one between the NA27 and the UBS, since it's only a 1-verse difference. Now, to do this, we'll take the first one, let's say the NA27, and what we're going to do is we're going to go and make a passage list. So I'm going to click here, the resource panel, on the little magnifying glass, and I'm going to say Save as Passage List. Now, this will take a moment because there's a lot of verses there. Let's export the second one to a passage list as well. That'll make it a little bit easier to work with. So we'll go to the resource panel, and we'll click on Save as Passage List. Let's go back to the Merge button on the gram chord one. And what we want to do is look for the name. Now, what I do is I just kind of copy and paste it. So we can look for the full name, go to Merge, and we'll click up here in the Find box and just paste that right in there. And there it is. So now we've selected our list to merge. But what we're looking for is this, the difference. Remove items in chosen list. So let's do the difference, and should come back pretty quick. Now that's fascinating. Notice we got no results back. But let's do it with the other one. Let's do it with the NASB. So let me close that down, and I'm going to go ahead and make that into a passage list. So click on the resource panel, Save as Passage List. There we go. I'm going to copy and paste the title, and once again click on Merge. Wait for the window to pop up. In the Find box, paste the list. There it is. And once again, we'll do the difference. And now we should get a few verses back. And there we go, just a handful. Now let's go ahead and just look at Matthew 3:2 to see why one book would have it and the other would not. So let's open up the New American Standard first. So let me click on that passage. There it is. And then let me open up the NA27, and we'll look at there. And I just want to show you this capability because when you really want to look at the big picture, this is important to see. So there's the NA27. And again, we're at Matthew 3:2. Now, because we ran the searches and we left the search windows open with the participles, you'll see that the participles are highlighted. This makes life a whole lot easier. Okay, so the first thing we see is Matthew 3:2 in both cases. Let's sync up the passages to make sure that we're linked together. And so we've got them linked. Now let's see what's going on here. So first, we've got our first one. I'm going to highlight the text. In fact, let me show you a little neat little trick here. I'm going to click on the 3 circles, and let's make sure that sympathetic highlighting is turned on, which it is here. Go to New American Standard and make sure that it's turned on as well. Now there it is, sympathetic highlighting is turned on as well. Now what sympathetic highlighting does allows you to select a word in one or the other translations, and the other translations will highlight it. So you can see that I highlighted this Greek word, I got the word repent. So if I go over here and select the word kingdom, let's say, I can see the kingdom down here. Now let's see where this participle is located. So I'm going to float my mouse over the word repent, and I don't see a participle. You can see the morphology there. And I'm just going to work through this adverbial clause, the kingdom. Again, no participles here. Of heaven is at hand. It's not in the New American Standard, but it's in the NA27. And here is the word highlighted. So Lego. Now, this is interesting because it's a participle. So let's now look closer at the New American Standard with the interlinear on and see why it didn't come up. So let's go ahead and put in morphology, and there it is. And so we look a bit closer. Okay, at 3:2, we see that this and Lego is not there. So it's what looks like what's going on here is that 3:2, they put the words and saying, they put that with verse 2 where the New American Standard put it with verse 1. It's a verse break rather than anything else. That's kind of frustrating because you're thinking